everyone. I want to start thanking everyone for joining us today. My name is Rigoberto Centeno. I'm with AWG RBS team, Retail Business Solution. Let me present you DCR. DCR have been in business since 1961, and they are ready to start a relationship with you. DCR now is a brand that you can rely on. They are a team of members, expert, ready, committed to serve you 24/7 and suit you with all your needs. Allow me to show you now one another tools that you can trust from DCR, and Jason will be taking over on details.
Good morning. Everybody hear me in the back? Good? Thank you. Thank you, Rigo. So what we're going to do is kind of run through some of the best practices that we've learned since the pandemic. Since the pandemic started, it kind of changed everybody's attitude about self-checkout and what it can do for you. DCR's got our booth is 109. It's just right outside the door. We've got a putting green competition. Feel free to come by and try out for that. We can tell you a little bit more about this. So traditionally, the world has changed since the pandemic started, and it's required some adjustments on how we do business. AWG sees that. If you'll go up and down the booth today, you'll see about 10 different styles of self-checkout. So it's becoming very prolific, even in smaller footprint stores. This is not a sales pitch for self-checkout. This is just about if you've made that decision, you're close to making that decision. These are some of the best practices so you can get the most out of your money. Traditionally, though, self-checkout was purchased to keep up with the competition. The store down the street had it. We wanted to keep that up. You were wanting to save on labor costs. You wanted to give your shoppers a choice. You wanted to speed up your front end and reduce those wait times. That was pre-2020. Post-2020, we live in a different world. We've gone from it's hard to find good people to it's impossible to find anyone. Show of hands if this is applicable to your world. Hands, hands, hands. Good. The competition down the street had to raise their game. So did we. There are examples where labor rates per hour literally doubled. That's not something we were expecting. We have to make adjustments. Technology is going to bring those in. The Great Resignation, some of that is petering itself out. We've seen during the pandemic labor shortages that were affecting stores' ability to stay open. The stores were having to close on a Monday or close earlier, open later. It resulted in those long lines. Self-checkout is going to be seen as a lifeline to help address those things. Made everybody reconsider why we were even purchasing them. So what did we learn? As we have been rolling these out in rapid succession since the pandemic under this new philosophy, planning is critical to make these go smooth. So if you're close to making this decision, or if you've made the decision, you've put them in, and it didn't go well, or as well as you'd hoped, kind of rethink about some of these things here. Here we go. So if you're looking at your store in its current set, and you're saying, how many do I need? We have seen 50% of all transactions, day one, go through the self-checkout. That will influence how many you need to get. We've seen locations, after it gets established, 70% of all transactions go through the self-checkout. Keep those things in mind when you're determining how many do I need? How do I need to arrange them? Well, how do I do that? You need to have an overarching plan on what is my goal, what target range of customer do I want to encourage to use these. It may be very large orders. It may be I'm wanting to get the quick, smaller orders out of the store faster. Determine your bagging configuration because it's unlimited. You can do a 1 bag, you can do a 10 bag, whatever it is. You may have a belt. It depends on what you're wanting to encourage. You need to determine how many do I need based off of those numbers. Your desired outcome should impact everything. Another big one you need to consider is the security of it. So you have a different experience depending on what type of store you go in because everybody's doing something different with security. Some people do it off of weight-based. Some of the big box stores are using cameras with AI, and they're just monitoring and doing things like that. You'll have flexibility, whichever system you choose, but consider those things before you implement it. The stronger you get on security, that's going to be a longer transaction. Remember, 50-70% of people coming through, longer transaction, it's not going to be as effective. Just consider everything like that. Will you take cash or no cash? That's a big question. We get this quite a bit. And depending on where you go, there's a different philosophy on it because we've seen people start with cash and then take it out. There's a large chain based out of Florida right now that went in and took all the cash out. And they're like, just card only. Just know that if you do that, you're alienating a certain percentage of your customer base that won't be able to use it. Go back to your transaction numbers to determine that. Location. This is important because you're wanting to create a primary path to get people out of your store. You want to encourage use of self-checkout. 70% of the people, so make it easy for them. Look at your foot traffic pattern. Make it the primary path. If you have conventional express lanes, take them out. You don't need them. Your self-checkout's your express lane. Don't hide them. Don't put them, well, I don't want to disrupt my flow. Don't put them over in the corner. Think center of the store, primary path to get out. Optimally, when they train you, they'll say, put it in the middle of the front end, flanked on both sides by traditional lanes. That gives you some options to move people around. Okay. Back to location. Have a single point of entry and exit. You don't want to put it to where there's a traffic flow going through. And you'll see later that the shopper attendant is going to be the most important part of managing that. Hold on. Thank you. If you'll have a single point of entry and exit, you won't have that pass through. Build borders around it. If you do that, keep those low. You want to keep that visible to everybody on the front end. You don't want to hide them. You want your shopper attendant, the one that's managing everything, they need to be able to see everything. So don't put them back to back because they won't be able to see the ones on the other side. Consider your ADA requirements on the spacing between them. You don't want to get these things installed. They're heavy, they're cumbersome. You don't want to do this install and think, uh-oh, I can't get the people in there. So just think these things through before you do it as you plan. Consider putting up signage to encourage people to come through. As you redesign your front end, you are not likely to have a bunch of extra space. No grocery store really does. You may have some new electrical requirements. Plan that. Network requirements. Plan that. If I'm taking out a traditional lane, I'm probably going to have to clean and strip that floor at a minimum, maybe replace tile. Think that through. You don't want to have to do that after this install because they're heavy and you have to move them. Pre-order and think about your displays and your promotional fixtures that are going to go around them. You're redesigning your front end. Planning and timing are important for all these to occur exactly as they are. Because if you don't plan it out, you're going to be short lanes. You won't be able to service your customer base. So, whoever you deal with, work with your POS provider. They should be able to get a specific time for your delivery. Work on your store prep with the electrical, the networking. Schedule that install. Work with your software integrator to get it matched up with your other lanes. And staff training. That's critical to plan that out. Okay. Before you install, look at your items. So now we've got an idea what we need on the front, how many we need. Now you need to look at your store. Look at your items. There are some items that don't play well with self-checkout. Large cases of water, large bags of dog food. Accommodate those however your system needs to, that it's easy to work with those. If you have a deli and they're currently tagging, a cake with a tag on the top, think of a customer trying to use that. They can't do that. They can't flip that over, so you're going to have to make those adjustments where the deli's tagging it on the bottom because a customer doesn't have the training that your cashiers do. Produce items are big. Consider that. How are we going to deal with those? That's going to slow down every transaction if the customer base doesn't know 4011 is a banana. They have to look that up. Consider using the GS1 tags that are on there. Make it easier on the customer. If you have markdown items, think about those. How do I deal with those? Because you may just take a marker and mark through the price and write something new on there. A customer can't ring that up at a self-checkout. You have to do a new tag. Do you have outdoor items? Do I have ice or wood or something like that? That needs to be easily accessible for a customer. You need to address those before you put these in. This is big. Get the mindset right with your staff. Have a plan. Set a tone of excitement that these are coming in because the store's going to talk, the personnel's going to talk, the customers are going to get it, and they're going to ask questions. Customers always have an opinion on self-checkout. Typically, they love it or hate it, and they will let you know. So prepare your store personnel to reinforce some standard ideas back to the shopper that no one's losing their job, and this is good. This is to shorten the lines. You have to set your expectations with your people to broadcast that message out. Get them excited about it. As you're choosing your self-checkout, make sure that what's going on that self-checkout, price-wise, promotion-wise, loyalty programs, is the same as a traditional lane, because if it's not, your shopper attendant's going to have to explain, this is different. People will lose trust in it. They won't use it. So make sure everything is the same experience regardless of where a customer checks out. If your attendant has to explain why pricing isn't correct, that's an example of friction. Friction's anything that slows down the transaction. Thank you. Run through it quick. Set policies that make self-checkout a great customer experience. I've got another presentation with AWG. It's recorded. You can go back and look at that. That really focuses on this. This is about how important the shopper attendant is. Have them greet when they come in. Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm here to help. If you need anything, I'll be right over here. That will set a different level of expectation from the customer experience. Don't leave your self-checkout unattended any more than you'd leave one of your traditional lanes unattended, but have a customer interact with it. If the store is open, it's a good idea, have your self-checkout open. Encourage it. More on the shopper attendant. We're short on time. I'm going to speed through this. Their job is to make sure the customer has a great experience in there. Some of the big box stores have really given self-checkout a bad reputation because they don't do this. This is important. So have the shopper attendant interact with each customer as if they were on a standard lane. You'll have a much better experience. After you've set everything up, periodically review the process. Go back and look at your reporting and look, what are my bad items? Address them, because every time it's causing friction. Who are my shopper attendants that are not on par with the others? Address that, retrain, maybe change them out. You need to have someone really good in that role. And I appreciate everybody's time, and that's it. So we're right outside here in booth 109. We have a putting green. Anybody have any questions? I ran through that quick, so.
What do you suggest to make it profitable? How many of these do you need if you're going to eliminate a lane in your store?
Good question. Go back to your situation is going to be unique. You need to have a good idea on who do you want to go, who do you want to use that. You may want it to be every order can use it. Well, then configure it that way to where large item, large quantity baskets can go through with no problem. If you want it to be an express lane, keep it small, keep it simple. You might not need as many. So that's based off of your transaction count. But you can expect about half day one to go through there. So whatever that means to you. It's a change of philosophy for how do I get customers happy when they leave. You're focusing on this. So everybody's experience is a little bit different. Any other questions before we wrap up? You good? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Rigo.